Hello and welcome everyone, Lionheart here, and today I'm taking a look at the SteelSeries Syberia 840 wireless gaming headset. Now some of you might be looking at this and thinking, this looks kind of familiar, Lionheart, this headset. I'm pretty sure you've done something like this before, right? Well, if you've been with my channel for a while now, you may well remember the review, which is linked in the description, of the SteelSeries H wireless headset that I did back in May of 2014. And it's had a bit of a rebrand since then. The H wireless is now known as the Syberia 800. No specification change, they just changed the name. They brought a few more of their headsets under that Syberia branding. So the headset that I've been using since May of 2014, the H wireless, now the Syberia 800, has basically had an update, and that is the 840. So what has been updated, Lionheart? What's been added? What's different between the 840 and the 800 that you've been using all this time? Well, the 840 has kind of two main new features, I guess. One, it is now compatible with the SteelSeries Engine 3 software, meaning that a lot of the kind of mixing and controls that you were traditionally with the Syberia 800 all accessing via the base station, you can still do that with the 840, but you can now do that via the SteelSeries Engine 3 software as well. And I guess for those that already have SteelSeries keyboards and mice, configuring all those to share profiles and things like that might be something you want to do. The software itself is, I wouldn't say it's that advanced. It's got all the knobs and dials and settings that you'd want. It's got EQ bits in there as well, but that's about it. To be honest, you can kind of do all the stuff you want to do from the base station, which features that lovely OLED screen and loads and loads of connections, but we'll come back to that in a moment. The other main improvement and difference between the Syberia 800 and the Syberia 840 that we're taking a look at today is that it is now Bluetooth compatible. It now can connect to Bluetooth devices. For instance, I've had it connected up to my phone while I've been gaming, and been having phone calls come into my headphones while I've been listening to game audio as well, and you can mix that as well. You can also, if you're playing on a console, add in the chat via the chat cable for Xbox and PS4 through to the headset. So technically you can have up to, I guess, like 3 audio channels going in. You can control and mix all of those in the chat and party mix into the audio mix there on your headphones. So let's take a look at what comes with the Syberia 840 in the box. Well, you get 6 cables: an optical cable, a USB cable, a power cable, an analog cable, a mobile cable, and a chat cable, as I've just explained. You also get a power adapter, which plugs in via USB power to the back of the base station. And that comes with actually 4 worldwide plug-ins, which is pretty darn useful. So if you happen to be traveling a lot and you really want to take this headset with you, you can. It's nice that they've included all that in there, and it's very easy to just swap. It's just a quick slide in with the various power plug that you need. You get 2 batteries. One of them was already in the headset for me, the other was spare in the box. And obviously you then get the transmitter, the base station, and the headset itself. So looking at the design of the headset, for me it's a very familiar design. In fact, it's practically the same as the Syberia 800, and that's no surprise considering the 2 minor changes really and additions that the 840 has over the Syberia 800. It does have one slight aesthetic change, which is that they've added this brushed steel look to the covers on the left and right ear cups, which actually I think looks pretty nice. It's a nice little standout flare for the ear cups there. They've gone for a single headband design, none of the kind of suspension band design that they have on some of their Syberia headsets, but it's very comfy. Again, because I've been using the Syberia 800, which has the exact same design here for nearly 3 years, I can tell you it's ruddy comfy. I wouldn't have been using the Syberia 800 for all that time if it wasn't a comfy pair of headphones, a comfy headset. The ear cups themselves are actually really nicely padded. They're quite I don't know, some might call them chunky, but I mean, I've used a pair of Siberia Elites, and those are ruddy chunk. Those are massive. Those are like marshmallows in your ear. Thankfully, they didn't go for that with the Siberia 800 or the Siberia 840s. Yeah, they might look relatively big, especially, I guess, for some of you thinking, oh, because it's got Bluetooth compatibility, it doesn't mean you can pair up with your phone. You can, I've paired up with my phone and gone into town, done some shopping or whatever, and been listening to my music with these on. They do look big, sure, but they're ridiculously comfy, so I don't really care if anyone's staring and looking at me wearing these kind of slightly large headphones. Do not care. They're incredibly comfy, and long play sessions with these have been a delight. As I've already said, I wouldn't have worn the Siberia 800s for nearly 3 years daily to do all my recording, all my gaming, if they weren't. And the reason why I'm going on about this so much is because, I mean, the price of these, they are expensive, and that's something I guess I'll come back to at the end of this review. But I mean, they cost £299 or $320. That's on Amazon UK and Amazon US. Feel free to obviously shop around. You may find them cheaper elsewhere. Also take a look on the SteelSeries website, see if you can get them cheaper direct from them as well. But yeah, for the price you're paying, you want a ruddy, comfortable pair of headphones. And for me, the Siberia 800s have lasted, 3 years nearly, and they're still just as comfortable. So let's talk about the base station now, which is actually one of my favourite parts of this whole system, primarily because of how it charges batteries, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. You guys want to know what connections and ports it has. So from left to right on the back of the base station, you have an analog in, a chat out, a DC in, a USB in, an optical in, and an optical out. And I've got to admit, that optical in and out, that pass-through is really useful. I've actually recently been experimenting setting up my PC to run all through optical audio connections, and basically I've had it set so that it goes from the optical out on my PC to the optical in on the base station of the 840s, and then optical out to my speakers. And it's worked really well, and it's given me a bit more control and flexibility over my speaker setup as well. And I really like that they've got that pass-through there. It's really cool they've included an optical out there as well. It does mean you could kind of essentially like daisy chain a couple of headsets together if they all use opticals, inputs and what have you, which is pretty useful too if you want to do, I guess, like a cooperative recording or something like that. Very useful. But my favourite thing about this base station, and actually I'd almost say my favourite thing about this whole wireless headset, the 840 and its predecessor, the Siberia 800, is the way it deals with battery charging, because this is a wireless headset. And one thing I hate with wireless headsets is that when you run out of power, if you're in the middle of a gaming session, the only way with previous gaming headsets that you can charge it is to plug a cable in, which means you're now running a wired headset, which kind of, to me, defeats the point of spending, especially when you're spending this much money on a wireless headset and wireless headsets around this price point. Why should you have to wire up just when you run out of battery? And SteelSeries, I'm glad that they've kept with this design for the 840. It's a hot swap battery. That's why you get 2 batteries with this, and it just charges by plopping the battery in the side of the base station. It starts charging up in there while you've got one in the ear cup of the headset. And I know some people have said, oh, it's a bit of an inconvenience to have to do that if you're in the middle of a gaming session to swap a battery out. Honestly, it takes like 5-10 seconds to quickly slide the panel off the left ear cup, take the battery out, pop a new one in, and then you pop the battery that's just died into the base station, and it starts charging while you're using the fresh one. I think it's a really good system, and I'd love to see more wireless gaming headsets adopt a hot swap battery system like this. But yeah, absolutely love it. Obviously, it's worth noting that the controls of the base station itself are all shown very nicely on the OLED panel at the front. You may see it flickering on some of the clips that I've had so far. That's just my camera. It can't keep up with the refresh rate of that OLED there. But yeah, very easy to control, very intuitive menu there. Just click the button in on the base station to select things, and you've got a back button as well, and then just the dial allows you to navigate all the interfaces. So let's talk sound. Overall, the sound quality for the Siberia 840 and the Siberia 800 is pretty darn good. It's not mind-blowing, and it's certainly not audiophile quality, but I think it's pretty reasonable. The bass is reasonably punchy, as most gaming headsets often tend to be. Obviously, there is full EQ options that you can change via the base station and through the SteelSeries Engine 3 software if you want to tweak it to some custom EQs as well. But overall, yeah, the bass is fine. Mids are very clear, and it's a really high quality at that range. At the high end of things, it's good. It does get a little bit distorted, I think, if you really crank the volume up, or you've got something that's really blasting out, some music that's really going for it, then you might notice the highs not being as clear as the mids. But overall, the soundscape is perfectly fine. It's also worth mentioning that the Syberia 840, like the Syberia 800 before, does support Dolby Digital 7.1. Again, it's okay. Personally, I've never been much of a fan of Digital 7.1 implementations, but it's there for you to play around with. I don't think it's a particularly impressive kind of surround experience, but the option's there if you want it. It's now time for a microphone test, and as you can all hear, I'm now using the Syberia 840's microphone. I am a bit disappointed that they haven't, in the 2 years since the H Wireless, decided to add any improvements in terms of quality here. However, I am thankful that they've kept the same retractable microphone design. It means you can just pull it out when you want to use the microphone and push it back into the left ear cup. It's nice and hidden and tucked away when you just want to use them as headphones, especially now it's got Bluetooth compatibility. You don't want to be walking, up the street, in the town or whatever, or shopping, listening to music with a microphone sort of boom sitting out in front of your face. So you can just tuck it away. No one would be the wiser that it's actually a headset of such, and it's nice that it's got that option for it there. It's just a shame that the quality's not got any better. That said, it's not the worst headset microphone I've ever heard, and it's certainly usable. You can use this for TeamSpeak and for Skype calls and what have you. Obviously, I sound a bit tinny, a bit muffled, a bit like I've got a cold coming on. For me personally, looking at this more as a Syberia 800 user and owner, it's a shame that they haven't added any kind of higher quality microphone options here. It is something I hope they add in future updates, or kind of, I guess, upgrades and revisions of their wireless gaming headsets, because I, for the most part, feel the rest of the headset is pretty darn good. So let's bring this review to a conclusion. So what did I like about the 840? Obviously, the Bluetooth connectivity is a major selling point. It's great to have another option to connect via. I still absolutely love the hot swap battery design that they've gone for with this, and they've carried on since the H Wireless / the rebrand to the Syberia 800. I think it's the strongest battery option out there for a wireless headset, because it does truly keep you wireless 100% of the time. Other headsets, the Logitech G933, that requires you to plug in when you run out of battery, and as do many others, or you have to dock the headset, which means you can't then use it. So I think that SteelSeries are onto a real winner here, and I would be very sad if they ever moved away from this. I should also mention battery life for each of these batteries is rated at 20 hours. So they should last for a pretty long time. You've got solid gaming sessions to have in there, and obviously, if you do see one battery getting low, you can just swap it out when you're done gaming for the day, let it charge, and put the fresh one in ready for the next day. So I think they've got a really good system there. I also, again, love all the options on the base station. I think you've got a lot of great connectivity options there. The OLED panel's really nice as well, and very easy to control and navigate through all of that too. I forgot to mention the range of the headset itself. It's got a range of 10 meters, which for me has been more than enough to wander around upstairs of my house where my office is located. I can even go downstairs, I can hear it cut out, and then if I walk underneath my room, which is the kitchen in my house, underneath my office, it will reconnect because the signal will pick back up again. And it's very easy, you don't have to press anything for it to reconnect, it just automatically reconnects when it's back within signal range. Signal's always very strong, I've not had any issues with that, never cut out early, no lag or anything like that. It's been really good. I should also say, because it's wireless as well, I've recently been sent an HTC Vive, and I've been using these headphones with that, and because you can mirror audio sources within Steam VR, you don't have to worry about another cable to plug into it all, and that just helps the experience for me. So if you're a VR enthusiast, these might be a good pair of wireless headphones to think about investing in. What don't I like about it? Well, the microphone still is a massive letdown personally. You're paying a lot of money for this headset, especially if you go for the 840, this version, over the 800, which is, I think, on Amazon around about £220, £230. This, on Amazon, the 840s are £299, you know, which is a fair bit of money to get a pretty subpar microphone. So I would definitely like to see SteelSeries work on a better capsule for the microphone, a better quality one there. It really does let it down. The sound quality, I'm not saying it's bad and it's something I necessarily hate, but it's something I'd like to see improved and then work on. And apart from that, there's not really much for me to dislike. Overall, I think it's a really good wireless headset package. Sure, it's not audiophile quality, so if that's what you're expecting from this, it's not for you. But for a gaming headset, and again, I'm going to test, I've had nearly 3 years solid use out of my Syberia 800s. It's lasted, it's all still running perfectly fine. You know, they are a lot of money from the outset, but I've had 3 years out of them so far. So I guess you weigh that up into your decision. I would say, though, for Syberia 800 owners, as much as I like the kind of convenience of Bluetooth for the 840s, it's not enough for me to upgrade. It would have to have far better audio and a massively improved microphone for me to want to upgrade from a Syberia 800 to an 840. So if you're sitting there happily with 800s, keep them. Maybe wait to see if they do something later on this year or next year with a new revision, a new model. We'll wait and see. But if you haven't got a wireless headset and you want to get something that is the complete package with all the connectivity options, have a look at the Syberia 840s from SteelSeries. Anyway, that is my review. I hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Take pride in join the Legion. Check out my affiliates and sponsors, XMG, Green Man Gaming, and Overclockers UK. Until the next one, ciao for now.